All right, it's 7 o'clock. I would like to call the meeting to order. Morton Grove Public Library Board of Trustees regular meeting on March 8th, 2012. If we could stand and say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Secretary Byrd, can you call the roll?
Mr. Albers.
Here.
Trustee Burke. Here. Trustee Kellerman.
Here.
Trustee Goldstein. Here. Trustee Hoffman.
Here.
Trustee Peters.
Here.
And Trustee Quinn.
Here.
All present.
The approval of the minutes from the board meeting, February 9, 2012. Do I have a motion to approve? Do I have a second? Second. Any comments, changes?
Look good to me.
All in favor?
All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you.
Approval of minutes, executive session, February 9, 2012. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second? Second. Thank you. Questions, comments, changes? If none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Thank you.
Wonderful. Public comments on agenda items only?
You can pass the executive session comment.
No public comments on agenda items. We'll move to President's report. We have stopped accepting applications for the director's position, and next week we'll begin disseminating the resumes and information to the committee, and we will start the process of evaluating candidates, hopefully moving towards a new director not too far out. And that's all I've got to say right now. And I don't know if I'm stealing any of your thunder, Kevin, but we did receive a per capita grant from the state of Illinois, $23,863 to be used in fiscal year 2012.
That was the grant that we applied for last fall.
Good job.
And that's actually just the letter saying that it's going to come. It's not the actual money. Yeah.
Close.
Hold on.
Yeah, hold on tight. Here, the treasurer. All right, treasurer's report.
Okay, has everyone gotten a chance to go over the cash statement? Okay. Any questions on it? We are, while you're looking it over, I just wanted to let you know we are still in process of switching things over. And we'll be having another meeting in the middle of March, probably, to get the funds transferred over to the new money manager. The new money managers will be investing our funds for us. So it's still in process. Income statement. Any questions? We are going to remove lines 3105 and no wait, I'm sorry. Oh, they've been
You did it already.
Did we do it already?
No, 50.
No, here we are. 5302 and 9070 are going to be removed from the report. Other than that, they are as stand. Any questions on that? And the check register, you received a revised check register that shows, the only difference is there were two numbers that didn't show up in the other one, and so we investigated it. Checks number 33, 958, and 59, and they were found and they were printed on by mistake in the copy. It went through the copier and had something else printed on it, so they were damaged, and that's why those are voided. Any other questions? Yes.
On February 14th, Air Comfort Corporation was paid $42.95. I trust that was on the old system? Yes.
Right.
Thank you. No problem.
Anything else?
You're presented.
I am presented.
I have a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
I make a motion to approve it.
I have a second. Anybody?
Okay, I will.
Second, thank you. Paul, can you give me a roll call vote?
Yes, I will. Start out with Trustee Berg, yes. Trustee Kelmag,
Yes.
Trustee Goldstein,
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
Trustee Peters,
Yes.
Trustee Quinn,
Yes.
and Trustee Albers.
Yes, thank you. Committee reports, finance, anything going on this
We
month?
did not meet.
All righty,
Well, just our regular.
we're in good shape.
I already reported on it, yes.
Thank you. Building and grounds, anything to report on this one?
Do you want me to report?
You can report
I can report.
on
I
the
will-
color commentary.
Yes, we'll have color commentary from Krista as I go along. Essentially, we took the next step forward with the ADA report that we had. It was pretty much, as we did before, narrowed down to 5 various areas. The area that came up as most talked about and perhaps most important was the landing from the elevator to the mezzanine area. What to do with that, to give access to that. That seemed to come out on top. There were 4 other areas amongst them: Baxter Room, bathrooms, the entrance exit, and one other. We're going to present a motion tonight to go forward with Ingberg and Anderson to take the next step, which essentially would be to seek out their input as to these areas, especially the first one that I mentioned. Not to the blueprint stage, because we don't want to be spending money that we don't have, but as to give us a picture of what they would do so that we can make the decision on how far to go forward.
So, yeah,
You want to do a little color commentary on that, Krista?
You've done a great job. So far, we've gotten to the point now where, as a Building and Grounds Committee regarding ADA, we need to go to an expert level to scope out the work, to define costs and feasibility for the various areas. At this stage, it would be our recommendation as a committee that we move forward to have them scope out the work, what it would take, not to, as Paul mentioned, not to the blueprint detail, but to basically give us cost estimates and ranges for what the cost would actually be. Because as we've gotten feedback now from staff and we've taken a look at it as a committee, we kind of are at the stage now where we need to actually rely on the experts and those who are qualified to come back and basically kind of give us estimates and make sure areas of improvement are prioritized, and if they're done in a certain way, do we get cost savings? Meaning, if we start with one area, as long as we're opening up an area, do we get benefits that way? Because that's also trying to be as efficient as we can from a funding standpoint and cost standpoint. We want to make sure we do it smartly and that we're going in eyes wide open from a cost standpoint so that we can continue to update accessibility for our library.
question. Are we not following the legal requirements which were stated in past meetings?
We are, as you think about where we are today, we have been, and I want to avoid the word grandfathering in, but we are compliant today as inspected, if you would, given the age and tenure of our building. As we look forward to improving accessibility within our facilities, that's one of the reasons we want to rely on an expert and basically now move forward going that direction to make sure we do everything within the letter of the law, within Illinois Accessibility Act, to make sure we are fully compliant and we go in also from a cost standpoint. Because that's really where we are right now, which is how much would it cost to potentially upgrade some of these areas that have kind of been highlighted.
But Ingmar did give us that information.
They gave us, this area, the scope of work of what we're talking about is specifically for accessibility. So the original work that Ingberg Anderson did included things like HVAC, included upgrades to the total building, which would be a little bit broader and bigger than what we're talking about from an ADA accessibility standpoint. And so the work that they had done was much broader from the cost estimate standpoint than what we're looking for. We're looking for accessibility specifically, and then really call it, as we define scope of work, if you would, certain areas that we would look to improve accessibility on, not necessarily replace all the infrastructure, if you would, to the building itself. Does that make sense?
Well,
Maybe I'd like to just add to that answer, and because I think I know where you're going with this, Art. We really can't do
I'd like to do it.
Yeah, we really can't do a money comparison to the whole. I know there's a certain
That's the rule.
certain formula that we have to do. Well, we can't really do it until we know what we're going to spend. Okay? And that's hopefully that we're going to get this from Ingberg and Anderson when we get some kind of figures that we can plug in. At that point in time, that factor that you're saying really does kick in.
Now,
But if we don't have numbers, we can't plug the numbers, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Okay?
well,
And
You are aware
I
of the law,
yes, yeah,
15%.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and I said,
Yes.
that's what- but we don't have numbers to plug into the formula just yet.
because as soon as we know what all the numbers are, then we realize which thresholds we cross on those various lines. Because
Cross
there
it
are
over, then the building
qualifiers,
comes down.
there are definitely qualifiable areas that we need to look at, and it is 30-month consecutive windows, and there's a whole bunch of different things from an act standpoint that I think we need to take a look at. So,
I know they have a history with the building, but are you recommending that we don't talk to any other engineering firms, that we just take them at their word and their cost and hire them?
one of the things that is a very big factor in, and was talked about at great length in our subcommittee meeting, was the fact that from an investment standpoint today, not only the money that was spent on the initial scope of work and definition, but the time, not only from staff to walk Mary's people around, make sure we get everything the way we needed to, staff investment, the investment that we made as a board of trustees previously, it would be our recommendation that we go with Ingberg Anderson, knowing that they are already familiar and have scoped out a lot of the work. They had defined on a high-level basis some of the ADA requirements to begin with, if you recall from their presentation. However, so I would consider this a follow-up to the project that was already defined, if you would. A little bit different way of looking at it. But as you think about kind of from a cost standpoint, that's also under consideration as we make our recommendation, which is the money invested to date for the work that's already been done, and then the cost that would obviously, as we take a look at what overall opening it up on a broad basis would be. So this would be considered, as we think about it, a follow-up to work that's already done and been out, obviously.
We sort of felt that going to another company would be reinventing the wheel for more money.
You're correct.
That's what we thought. do we have that? Do you have the motion there that was written? You may read it.
Excuse me, it's
So-
not on the
hang on,
agenda, we
I
can't
got it.
do. we
I got
can't
it.
do that.
So to summarize what you're trying to get at here, you're gonna take 5 of these projects and get a quote.
Think about what we're asking, what we're wanting to do is to go back and scope out Ingberg Anderson to basically take a look at, to follow up on the original project work that was already done, to add cost and feasibility for upgrading accessibility in our current building.
On
We
5
know-
projects that you identified.
Yes.
Now, wait, hang on. Well,
Okay.
the 5 we've already identified are our priority orders.
Mhm.
However, again, this is all of the layman's that we have. So if there are other areas that they see as sudden outages, I think they need to come back to us and say, yes, this is an issue. We expect the 5 that we're talking about, that we've kind of prioritized, will clearly be the main ones, will be probably the biggest cost issues, outliers, if you would, things along that line. We are already underway on working some of the things like just locks and accessibility and door handles. Those are things that are moving kind of underway, if you would. But this is much bigger in scope. And so, yes, I would expect it's basically the 5, but we've got to, if there is an issue that all of us haven't seen yet, I think they need to flag it. I would look to them as the experts to flag it back to us as a public entity, if you would. But yes, I mean,
All right.
I believe the process has to be followed, though, that if you're going to make a motion, that it has to appear on the agenda. And it's not on the agenda, so you can't make a motion this morning.
Well, I would ask that you put it on the agenda for next
Submitted.
month. Because we need the permission of the board to go on.
So noted.
Okay?
Yes, that will do. Policy Committee did not meet last month. Staff reports, directors?
Okay, as we began our written report, we're still dealing with building issues. We thought we had the HVAC unit on this area addressed last time, but it turned out not to be the case, as it went out another two more times since the last meeting. Elm came out the first time, did some caulking that I thought they had to take care of, and it went out again a week later. So actually, just after I sent this out Monday, Elm was out with a representative from Carrier, the manufacturer of the unit, and they determined that some gaskets used someplace within the unit are not the right thickness, and so they're not good enough seal against the outside, and that's how moisture is getting in. So as soon as it warms up enough, they will replace those. I'm guessing, I didn't ask Claude this, but I'm guessing it's probably because whatever sealant they use has to be a certain temperature to make it work with the gasket. And so again, it is caulk. They put in, as I wrote, a splash shield to try to get water away from the burner. So, it's been okay for the last couple of weeks. Keep fingers crossed until it gets warm enough they can do that. And they were out just Monday, as I said, to look at that. And then just after that, new issue, a sprinkler pipe sprung a leak in the children's department, which does not mean we had a flood. Our sprinkler pipes, which you don't see here, they're up in the ceiling, but every place else in the library they're exposed because there's no drop ceiling anyplace else. Those pipes are all filled with air under pressure. There isn't water in them. So that a leak only leaks air and not water. If a sprinkler head is tripped due to heat, it opens up enough that the air pressure drops and then water flows, as you would expect. So this is about 4 o'clock Monday afternoon, where a couple of small holes opened up on a 5-inch diameter pipe in the children's department right up the curved wall where they have their new books. It was just in front of them. So Claude got the company that maintains that out here, and they replaced about a 4-foot section of the pipe, which they were able to do because we still had a spare piece left over from the last time this happened. It's actually the third such leak we've had in the last few years. So that was all taken care of, and they got it painted the next day, and it's as good as new. Let's see, and then the third thing, we started looking last fall at a new type of insurance that we felt we should have called data breach insurance, which would cover us in the event that someone broke into our computer systems or in some other way confidential data on our computers got out. It's very unlikely compared to a for-profit business. First of all, we don't have really confidential data. We don't have credit card numbers, driver's license numbers, anything like that. And usually what happens, the way this kind of information usually gets out is an employee who legitimately downloads this data onto his or her laptop, takes it home and loses it. That's the usual scenario, and we don't have anything like that here. But it still seemed like it was a good thing to do because the cost is very reasonable, like under $1,000 a year for this coverage. And so it turned out that the most cost-effective way to do it was to bundle it with our directors and officers insurance, which covers the board, and our employment practices, which covers our hiring in case somebody says something wrong, to bundle that all into one new package. And so we actually ended up canceling our existing directors' offices, directors and officers, and employment practices policy, which we
You
signed
say
last.
that 3 times fast.
No, I tried to get it through once. So that was just renewed last fall. So we were able to cancel that, and then we write a new policy that included all 3. So we're set for that. That's it, me.
All right.
In regards to public services and staffing, you've seen a variety of programs and the quality of services that we provide in the report, so I will not talk about that. I will just say that we're working on a new project and the new program, Read Fast, that will be a library-wide program where we will have an author talk, we'll have signing up for summer library challenge, explanations about e-readers, and a lot of activities related to reading. We hope to publicize and promote it through the entire village. It will be something similar to Tech Fest, and this is a unique program that, it's our idea. Nobody else is doing this. I also want to mention that we're very lucky to have hired 2 librarians this month. Elizabeth Ludeman started in the reference department. She is a reference librarian, and she will be concentrating on emerging technologies and e-readers. And Abby Anala is our new outreach librarian. Her title is essentially is a coordinator of marketing and community engagement. And we have high hopes of engaging our community, starting new projects, working very closely with all kinds of communities, with Park District, with other organizations. We already started working with Culvers, and this was done mostly by Ann, who was head of food services. If any questions, again, we'll be glad to answer.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
That concludes
This
that
concludes
report.
our report.
Thank you. Corporate counsel, do you have anything?
Just the resolution for the closed session recording policy that everyone received. If anybody had any questions on it, just to refresh, this essentially just sets in policy form what you're planning to do with respect to your semi-annual review of your executive sessions or closed session minutes, and then what you're going to do with respect to the actual verbatim recordings of the closed sessions. And the pursuant to law, you only need to keep those for 18 months, and after that you can destroy those recordings. So if there's any questions, you pick in this resolution that you're going to conduct your review of your closed session minutes every June and every December. And that way it'll be really standardized, that everybody knows those are the 2 months or 2 meetings that you're going to be conducting that review. Yes.
Why, just because I'm a layman, like, why is it a resolution versus added to bylaws or added to so I guess one, why is it a resolution? And then two, I assume we store it or have access to it from an online standpoint. So then does that just change where we put it as a
Access
resolution?
to what?
Meaning, so the public, as they go onto our website, you can go back and you can go in and find, you know, board members, board meetings, everything else. This would obviously then be posted.
Right, this is,
Correct.
it's a resolution because you're formalizing a policy.
Okay.
Essentially is the reason why it's a resolution.
Okay, versus a bylaw or anything else that we would necessarily have voted on.
Well,
If the bylaws are redone, would it be incorporated into?
well, not necessarily. I mean, this is really something separate and apart from the bylaws. I mean, you could incorporate it in your bylaws and pass that as well.
But it's mandated by law anyway, right? So
Right.
that's why it's a
I mean,
resolution.
that's really the reason. But the other thing is that, you know, in your bylaws, you don't usually incorporate all of your organization's policies and procedures. You really, you know, the bylaws are more of an operating document, more broader breadth than that.
So just so I'm clear, this is something that did not exist prior.
Correct.
This is,
Number one, right?
This is,
I mean,
this is not a policy that your organization had before.
all right, good. Okay,
But we needed it.
so corporate counsel, okay.
And why is it that all the written minutes must be kept forever?
It's the law.
But the audio ones don't? I mean,
Right.
That's the
I don't
law.
understand the difference.
The difference is that, is that the statute only requires that. But the other reason is that, if you think about the fact that a lot of people have people now have their minutes stored in electronic minutes now, you know, as opposed to actual cassette tapes that they might have taking up a lot of space in a cabinet somewhere. And then the other thing was, you know, the security of the tapes, you know, having a large number of tapes floating around was another issue that was considered in formulating the 18-month time period. And then the other thing is that a lot of times something over that 18-month period, whatever was discussed, either comes to resolution in some way.
I understand
And
that.
so that,
But why do
so
we
so
have
that there
to,
wouldn't
we're
be.
still keeping the written records?
So the written record has to be kept forever.
Forever.
I mean, you have to keep those for as long as the organization exists. And those are both either closed or open minutes. Those have to be maintained. Those are your official records, and those have to be maintained.
One last one, then, sorry. So, again, process question, I guess. So if anything, so as the state act, from an Open Meeting Act, may get updated, upgraded, or maybe revised over a period of time, does this resolution then get revised or
Exactly.
reapproved? Okay.
Exactly. You would always want to make sure that whatever your procedures are, they're current with respect to the state law. So the idea would be if they did change, for example, the law and said that you had to keep those verbatim recordings forever, or until the minutes were released to the public or something like that, you know, then we would have to change our procedure to comply with the state law.
Got it, okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I had no unfinished business, so we'll go to new business. So you've had a chance to review the resolution, so can I have a motion to approve the resolution to adopt a closed session recording policy?
I move that we as a board approve and adopt the resolution to a closed session recording policy.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Yes, we will.
Yes.
Does it have to be number one? Do we have to say number one?
Your number would be 2012-1.
Resolution 2012-1.
Correct.
Okay.
So what is the difference then between a resolution and a motion to do something else, spend money or whatever? I mean, we've not typically, or, I mean, in my,
Haven't typically done resolutions.
Right.
Right.
I don't recall there ever having been one
I
before.
believe there was a resolution for the.
Over the special reserve?
For the
Yeah.
special reserve fund.
Yeah,
You know, it's a resolution is sort of like a law, if you will, or an ordinance or whatever. You don't do ordinances because you're not a city or a village or a separate body in that regard. But so that you would pass a resolution that this is something that we're going to follow, this is something that we're going to do.
so the fact that we haven't typically had dozens of resolutions a year is not necessarily,
It's not good or
it's
bad.
not a problem.
It's not good or bad, it's not a problem.
Yeah, it's just not what we do,
Well, it's just,
other than in rare cases like this.
right.
Okay.
Okay, we had a second. Paul, can I get a vote on that?
Trustee Burke, yes. Trustee Caliban.
Yes.
Trustee Goldstein. Trustee Hoffman.
Yes.
Trustee Peters.
Yes.
Trustee Quinn.
Yes.
And Trustee Elbers.
Yes.
7-0 vote.
Thank you. Second by
Me.
no communications from the field this month. Are there any public comments on non-agenda